Hello!
Hello, AOS fans!
It's the Agents of Sigmar.
And in this video, we are talking about Borgit's
Beastgrabbaz.
That's what I was going to say.
So the next warband to be announced by Games Workshop, another Gits warband.
Which I don't think anybody had seen. Destruction Warband, I don't think it had been on any of the rumours, so
No.
completely out of the blue. So it's a 5-fighter warband.
5 Gits, well, 4 Gits.
And a troll.
Got the cave troll.
Yeah, quite literally. An anatomically interesting cave troll.
He's
with
quite small.
eyes below his nose. He is quite small. He's a baby cave troll, I guess. I don't know.
I mean, it's what it's what you do with it that counts rather than the size. So we're going to go through the War Scroll to start with, just give you a heads up on how they inspire and all their abilities, and then we're going to run through all the fighters and just give a quick summary on what we think of those.
I'm quite intrigued by their inspire condition.
How do they inspire, Robin?
Well, they inspire when a friendly fighter delves.
Oh, that's really easy.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh, and that already ties in really well with pillage and plunder, which is all about
Absolutely, yeah,
delving.
it just definitely points them towards pillage and plunder. It's kind of interesting. You say it's really easy, and it is, but obviously it's going to immediately make you vulnerable. Because it's going to make you, well, not vulnerable, obviously, but staggered. It's going to make you staggered, which doesn't make you vulnerable, but makes you more vulnerable. Your opponent can dictate a little bit because he can leave certain objectives open or close them, or just make it quite difficult for you. You've got to swap. If you get onto an objective, that's all right, but then you've got to get off it again so somebody else can inspire.
Yeah. You might find you even use confusion yourself to swap two fighters around, so you can flip it again, just so you can then inspire 2 fighters.
Juicy, yeah. So it's going to be interesting, I think.
Yeah.
But we'll look at the cards in a minute, and so we can see whether which ones are worth inspiring.
Yep.
But they've got a couple of other little special abilities. So they've got trophy hunters.
Ooh.
I have to say, I'm slightly getting a bit tired of the destruction spelling.
With Zs everywhere.
Zs, yes, like trophy hunters.
They're hunters.
Yeah, exactly.
Everyone knows that. Just use an E and an R.
And debate, which okay, we get it. I know. Not everybody has every single one.
It's orcs in it.
Yeah, it's a little bit tiresome.
Yeah, to say the
Anyway,
least.
that's just me. At the start of your first action step in the first battle round, pick an enemy fighter with a health characteristic of 3 or more to be da trophy. Melee attacks that target da trophy have +1 attack dice.
I mean, that's nice. A little extra +1 attack dice could be quite handy.
Yep.
It has to be 3 wounds or more. Most warbands, you can have at least 1 target there. Against some warbands, like Sepulchral Guard, for example, you're only going to have 1 viable target. It's going to be the same all the time. But again, it's not a bad thing having more dice when you want to swing at somebody who's important.
No, I mean, it's no bad. I mean, having the warden, the troll, for example, I'm going to talk about it later, but he starts off on 2 hammers.
Yeah.
So you immediately get +1 attack dice.
It's not bad at all.
It's all right, isn't it? Especially as he's got cleave. I think that's quite nice, and it kind of ties into their sort of hunteriness nature.
Yeah. They're going to pinpoint someone, they're going to want to go for that person. But it does mean that you're kind of telegraphing your intent a little bit, because you're going to be like, I'm going to go after that person. Anybody on the other side is going to just go, I'm going to run them away now. Just going to keep them back. So
that's okay too.
Yeah.
It's kind of like, well, that's fine. I'm not sure people will necessarily, because if you put it
possibly
on,
possibly not.
You can't not commit Crojacks.
No,
an extra dice against him is pretty good, particularly in that particular instance, it messes up his inspire condition because you're rolling an extra dice, making it harder for him to inspire. But if you are hunting, obviously you are a Git and you are hunting, then you might need to use debate. So immediately after a friendly minion is slain, push your leader a number of hexes equal to the health characteristic of the slain minion. That push must end adjacent to an enemy fighter. So for 2/3 of the time it's going to be 2, but old Rig and Sham, who are the 2 little fighters on one base, they actually have a 3 wounds.
Which isn't bad. You're going to get at least a 2 hex push for your fighter, possibly another one. So
maybe if you randomly put Great Fortitude on them, you might get an extra push.
4 hex push maybe.
It seems slightly an odd.
Possibly not the best place to use it, but but that's quite handy again. And obviously they were debate, and now your boss Borgit has run up there and he's going to clumb over the head. And he's not too bad either.
And it isn't a one hit either, so it is like you can use it, assuming all 3 of them die, you can use it 3 times.
Not bad.
So it's pretty good.
Bit more manoeuvrability, get him into a good position.
Yeah, the troll is not a minion, so you can't get a 5 push.
So those are the main abilities that you can use all the time. They're Inspire. So what are their 3 special abilities? Do they have 3 special abilities?
They
have
do
more?
have 3 special abilities, and they are 1 use per game abilities. So you have little tokens, and there is Gittish Geatish Tactics. I'm not going to tell you how tactics is spelt because it will make you weep.
Are there K's and Z's?
There are K's and Z's, yes. Use this immediately after a friendly Uglug or friendly Borgit successful attack action.
That's your boss or the big lad troll.
Actually, it doesn't say action. I've got to get used to it. I'm not calling it attack action. Until the end of the battle round, the target of that attack is Damagins. Friendly minions, melee weapons, have crit Grievous, basically, when targeting Damagins. You can only use Geatish Tactics ability once per game. GW will nobody think of the content providers.
Frankly, I'm loving this. Watching the anger rise up. So that's quite handy. You can commit one of your bigger guys early, and then you put somebody into the situation where they are damagins, and makes them a little bit easier to then keep clubbing. So
yeah, well, you get crit Grievous, so it's you're going to help. It helps you bring them down. Maybe.
Yeah. Which can be combined with Trophy Hunter, give you the extra dice, give you crit Grievous. That's all pretty nice. Now, it doesn't extend to the big lad, it's just your minions, but, every little helps in that situation. So
100%. Now, the thing about the big lad is perhaps he's a reassuring presence.
Yeah, he could be.
And this is another ability, funnily enough. And it's actually just spelt reassuring presence, which is unusual. I find it slightly reassuring. Use this immediately after your action step if a friendly Uglug used any core abilities in that step. You can push each friendly minion up to 3 hexes. Each fighter pushed in this way must end that push adjacent to a friendly Uglug. You can only use this ability once per game.
Oh, that's quite a nice pull everybody in sort of ability.
Yes, it's after your action step though, so it's kind of like, I've clubbed you, and now you can bring these guys. I suppose it gives you supports to help you defend. But it's like, now you can bring the minions in to be close to be battered instead. Yeah, but definitely. Free movement in this game is always good. Yeah,
and it could be used if you're in the right spot to then pull people in to jump onto an objective, all that kind of stuff as well, which is never to be sniffed at.
It is once per game. It's the sort of thing I'll be thinking, I need to save that in case it's useful later.
And never use it.
Not useful. And the final ability is Stab 'em Good.
Stab 'em good.
Yeah, it is 'EM. Use this immediately after your action step if a friendly minion used any core abilities in that step. Until the end of the next action step, the first time after an enemy fighter is pushed, placed, or enters any hex adjacent to a friendly minion, inflict 1 damage on that fighter. Ooh. You can only use this ability once per game.
That's quite nice.
It is, I quite like that.
It's nice that it even impacts vulnerable fighters. So if you've got Crowjax and he's on his last legs and you then play that, you're like, well, I can't charge with him now because he's just going to die the minute he gets near him. So it's a nice little
range 1, so he really would be would be taken. He is only for the next action step.
Yeah, but
so I find those sorts of abilities are normally fairly easy to play around. But like you say, late stage, when people are getting vulnerable, then it could make you more survivable. Even if you only survive for 1 more turn, that gives you 1 more turn to do something.
Yeah, sometimes that's all you need in that kind of situation. So again, that's a really nice one that gives your minions fighters a little bit more survivability and a little bit more
teeth, literally.
Literally more teeth. And if you place them right, you could cut off sections of the board to your opponents. Just like, I want to get over to that objective, but I don't want to injure myself to do it, so I'm just going to have to wait a turn. Like you say, it can be played around, but quite often just delaying it can be enough sometimes. Yeah.
So the interesting suite of abilities, not too taxing. There's no massive overhead there. There are things I'm going to forget to use, like Reassuring Presence, but I think it's quite good.
So then we're going to move on to the fighters. We're going to talk about them and run through their stats quickly and anything that we think of that might come in useful. Starting off, obviously, with Borgit, who's the boss. He's got a move of 3. He rolls 2 shields to start, which is quite nice. He's only
because he's got a massive shield with the moon on.
He has got a massive shield with the moon on, but he is only 3 wounds and he's 2 bounty. Right. So he's got some survivability there with the 2 shields. He's got a 2 hammer, 2 damage attack, and he's got crit Grievous. So it could be 3 damage. Could be 3 hammers as well with the other ability as well.
Yeah, so two hammers, 2 damage is not bad for first attack. I mean, he is the boss, solid. So you would expect him to be good.
Yep.
What does he inspire to?
When he inspires, he doesn't get a lot better, which isn't that bad really, because he's not bad to start with. But he gets +1 moves, he goes up to 4, and he gets 1 extra hammer on his attack, so he goes up to 3 hammers, but he's still got crit Grievous.
I think that's a reasonable upgrade, actually. 1 move and 1 extra hammer.
I mean, he's solid to start with, so that's not a bad increase.
He stays on 2 shields, obviously, but that's quite a nasty fighter. 2 shields, 3 hammers, possibly 3 damage.
As gits go, he's pretty tough.
Yeah, and I think 2 shields is becoming. I've realised is better than it was in the old game.
Yes, yeah. The more shields or the more dice in general, I think the better. So the next one up is Rig and Sham. They're the guys who are dressed up like a squig to get Uglug to follow them around. They have a move of 3. They roll 2 dodge to start with, which isn't bad, and they're on 3 wounds and worth 1 bounty.
Starting on 2 dodge is good.
Much more survivable, I think. So
good.
They've only got a 2 sword, 1 damage attack, and it does have stagger. So it's not great, but I don't think they're there for their killing prowess.
No. What are they there for? Giving support?
Yeah, basically, I think. Staggering people so Uglug can go and mash them, I suppose.
But they have got to hit, though, haven't they?
That is true, yeah. When they inspire, they go up to a move of 4, and their attack goes up to 3 swords. But that's about it, so they don't.
It's a range 1 attack, presumably.
It's a range 1 attack.
So 3 swords is better, obviously. I mean, I didn't mind a 3 sword attack, 1 damage. I mean, it's when they're inspired, it's almost worth the bait, isn't it?
Yes.
Because they might stagger you. You've got a reasonable chance of getting a stagger off, and if you can get a stagger when you've still got Borgit or Uglug to come in and finish somebody off, that could be useful.
The next one is Dreg, who is the one who got. It looks like he's got like a poisoned arrow on his bow, but there's nothing in here about poison, which is a little bit of a shame. But he's also move 3, 2 dodge, 2 wounds on this one, and he's worth 1 bounty. He's got a range 3 attack, which is 2 swords and 1 damage, and again that has stagger on it. So, and when he inspires, he goes to 4 move, and his attack goes to 3 swords. So almost identical, apart from the range difference on their weapons there.
So they get some manoeuvrability because they've all gone to 4 when they're inspired.
Yep.
And actually, that's 4 move, not bad.
No, and they all 2 dodge.
Yeah.
Which is pretty good as well. Next one you got is Snags. He moves 3, 2 dodge again, 2 wounds, 1 bounty. He rolls 2 hammers on his attack though, and he's got a range of 2, so he's a little bit more accurate. 1 damage, but he's also got, I can never remember it because I don't think we've seen anything with this ability yet, but it's the one where you can shove someone in a direction, whatever that might be called. No, but it's that one with the arrow on it, so when they make a successful attack instead of driving them back, you can push them instead.
Because he's got the big snippery...
He's got the man grabber type thing.
So basically he's picking them up and moving them.
Yeah. When he inspires, he goes to 4 move as well, and his attack goes to 2 hammers, 2 damage with the same thing. So it gains 1 damage, still 2 hammers, which isn't bad. Again, he's got 2 dodge, which isn't bad either. And obviously those 3 are the 3 minions.
Yeah, I mean, they're not bad. They're not special, but they're
not terrible.
They're not terrible. They've got the dodges, I think, is what makes them a bit more interesting.
Yeah.
I mean, they're not very accurate when they start. And Snags isn't bad with 2 because he starts on 2 hammers, doesn't he?
Yeah, he'd be the one I think I'd be giving my accuracy and my damage upgrades to, I think.
Yeah, especially as you might be able to move your opponents then into a stagger hex or maybe into the path of the oncoming troll.
Uglug, yes.
Speaking of oncoming trolls.
Indeed. We've got Uglug. He's got a move of 3. He's only 1 shield. He has 5 wounds though, and he's worth 2 bounty. He's got a range 2 attack, which is 2 hammers and 2 damage, and it does have cleave on it. So not crit cleave, but just cleave. So 2 hammers, 2 damage, range 2. That's a solid attack.
That is.
When he inspires, he stays on 3 move. He goes to 2 shields, so he's a little bit more survivable, which is quite nice. His attack stays the same, pretty much. He's got range 2, 2 hammers, 2 damage, but it gains Grievous and Cleave. So you've got to pick one, which one you want to do.
Which is good though, because there are times when you need one and not the other.
Yeah, if you're up against a dodgy warband, then you can go for the Grievous instead.
Keep it out of your wallet, that's all.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But it's nice that you've got that option. So if you're up against Stormcast, I'll just concentrate on the Cleave.
Yeah.
It's a nice little combination there, and we've seen a few things that we've not seen before.
No, I feel like you're going to want to try and get him onto an objective early.
Yes.
So that you can inspire him, because 1 shield is a bit ropey.
It's not great. I think he's prime, like turn 1 charge, jump onto an objective, slap one in the face, and then delve to inspire him.
I think you're probably right, or possibly even stand him next to an objective that's in the backfield.
Yeah,
and then sidestep onto it if you can.
Yeah, although he stays on 3 moves, so he doesn't.
Not too far back. Not too far back.
Yeah. Or you could use the ability to, once you've activated him, then pull all the grots in.
Yeah.
So you immediately inspire him. Whilst he's staggered, you could possibly get them grots into a position where he's got a bit more support and stuff like that. So that might be quite nice.
I can imagine playing these and being really bad with them.
Yep, same. I'm really looking forward to being terrible with this warband.
Yeah.
Obviously, their Inspire condition, as we mentioned earlier, pairs really well with Pillage and Plunder.
Yes, obviously. So basically getting inspired for doing what you want to do.
Exactly. So you're inspiring and you're scoring objectives at the same time.
And we haven't covered it yet, we'll be in a separate video, but the new Rivals deck as well got some bonuses for fighters that have got 2 or less wounds.
Yeah.
So the Edge of the Knife, I think that's called, and we'll do a separate video for it. But having looked through those cards, there's some utility for things where you have lots of little fighters and then one big fighter. You can temper the big fighter and then get some bonuses. So it will work with that too, which I guess is probably why they've come out at the same time.
And I think they'll benefit because their damage output isn't great. It's not massive. They might benefit from one of the more pingy kind of decks. But also anything that's going to involve them jumping onto objectives to flip them with pillage and plunder. But there's other cards in other decks as well that go quite nicely. I don't see this band going with your Reckless Fury or anything like that, really.
No, definitely not. Possibly they might run with Blazing Assault, but I reckon you're probably going to pair them with something like Emberstone Sentinels and Pillage and Plunder, or Pillage and Plunder and Countdown to Cataclysm.
Yes, I think that's probably the ones you're going to want to go for.
Or possibly the new one, but we haven't really tried the new one yet. But I think the new one has definitely got some scope as well.
Yeah, I think the other one, and we'll talk about the new deck in another video. Obviously, this warband only has 2 2-wound fighters, but it has 2 3-wound fighters, so it doesn't take much for them to get into the same scenario as well. Quick
thing on the models. The models are great. They look really nice. They're really fun, and I assembled them, and I didn't swear once.
Yeah.
So they were pretty. They did go together pretty well.
Because you were at the library. I have to say, my own personal taste, I'm not a fan of the troll. I don't like any of the GW trolls, I'm afraid. So that's just me. But I'm sure a lot of people out there will.
I do prefer the goblins. That is true. I do prefer the goblins.
And it's another Gits warband. What's not to like about that?
No, absolutely.
So if you've got any questions about this warband, do stick them in the comments below.
Yeah. Are you going to check it out, or do you hate destruction warbands and are never going to touch this with a 10-foot giant clawed thing?
And is that because of all the Z's and the A's in the spellings?
Yeah, let's not get started. So that was Borgit's Beastgrabbaz.
Yep, do let us know in the comments below what you're looking forward to doing with them, or what you're looking forward to seeing when they hit the Underworlds.
And if you enjoyed this video, don't forget to click that lovely like button.
And that equally lovely subscribe button.
And don't forget to ring that bell to get notifications of all our other lovely videos.
And if you're feeling really generous, check us out on Patreon. All the support from that goes straight back into this channel to make videos like this.
Absolutely. All of our supporters are lovely, and it just increases the loveliness.
So we'll see you soon, probably in the Underworlds.